Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back to another Q&A with the IBFP. Sergio Gomez states, should Floyd Mayweather Jr. run it back with Canelo Alvarez as far as the rematch? And that rematch has been estimated to be valued at $1.5 billion. So you have to understand there's no bigger payday. There's no bigger match than, Floyd Mayweather Jr., who's a megastar, and Canelo Alvarez, who's the face of boxing, to have a rematch right now. And, you can't hear any complaining when you see Deontay Wilder facing, a 40-plus-year-old Luis Ortiz. You can't hear any complaining when Keith Thurman faces a 40-plus-year-old Manny Pacquiao. This is a normal thing in boxing now, and it makes a lot of sense for Canelo Alvarez to face the former face of boxing with the current face of boxing. But let's keep it going. Leon 1624 says, what's your thought on Leonard Ellerbe and Bob Arum saying that Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 2 can reach 2 million pay-per-view buys? I don't think that Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury has the star appeal to carry a pay-per-view to those heights. I think it would be a very good fight. I think it's going to do better than it did the first fight. But the first fight didn't even reach 500,000 buys. I think the best you can hope for is 500,000 buys. I think 2 million is way off. Neither one of these guys have the profile or reach to do that. And I think the type of fighter that they're going to need to include if they want to hit those type of numbers is going to be an Anthony Joshua, because that's the type of guy that sells pay-per-views. That's the type of guy that puts, butts in seats. That's the type of guy that packs arenas. Great question. The next one comes from Beast Mode. If Vergil Ortiz knocks out Solomon, who should he fight next? I think Vergil Ortiz, should he get past his next test, I think he should look to a guy like Sergey Lipinets. I understand it's hard to make fights with the PBC, but I think that's a great fight for him. It's a tough, rugged opponent, a guy who knocked out Lamont Peterson, so it'll be a very quality win on your resume. A guy, who's never been stopped. And if Vergil Ortiz could stop a guy like Sergey Lipinets, that would send a massive statement. The next one comes from Round 105. He says, what do you think is next for Luis Ortiz? I still see him as a top gatekeeper. Well, the first question I'll answer, and what do I think is next for Luis Ortiz? I think what makes sense for Luis Ortiz next is just, getting good paydays, but at the same time, the fights that make sense. And I think fights like Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois make perfect sense for Luis Ortiz at this point in his career. It could be a breakthrough fight for one of those guys, but also for Luis Ortiz, it could be a good payday going overseas. The second part of his question is, do you think he'll get another chance at a title? I'm not sure. Luis Ortiz has been stopped twice in his career. He's already 40-plus years old. I'm not sure he's able to compete at the top of the boxing division. He also states, who do you have winning the Fury versus Wilder rematch? I have Tyson being a better boxer. I think he already figured out Wilder. I absolutely agree with that point. I think it's a 50-50 fight. The reason why I say that is I believe that, Tyson Fury, could outbox Deontay Wilder and win a clean decision. But also in the back of your mind, you also have to realize that Wilder does have one-punch knockout power. And with the referees, like in the Luis Ortiz fight, if they come with an extremely fast 10 count, and then, maybe they'll try to get, Tyson Fury out of there quick if he gets dropped at any point. So, it depends on the ref. But if all things are fair and honest, Deontay Wilder could stop him in the last round or the first round. But at the same time, Tyson Fury has the skill set to drag Deontay Wilder in deep waters and, win a clean-cut, clear decision. So I think it's a 50-50 fight. Right now I'm leaning Tyson Fury. The next one comes from Wasi Rahman. He states, who do you honestly think Floyd will fight in his comeback boxing fight? In his comeback boxing fight, I think that he'll end up fighting a guy like Adrien Broner. That's my opinion. And a lot of people will say, why Broner? Because I think, Manny Pacquiao has shown too much life. I think people have already seen that. People are somewhat bored of that. And I think Manny Pacquiao would be too dangerous for Floyd Mayweather at this point. I think Floyd at this point, with his skill set diminishing because, of age and the fact that he's been away from the sport, I think that Floyd Mayweather would look for a cherry pick type of opponent similar to an Adrien Broner, a tune-up type of opponent. and that's Adrien Broner. You have to understand that Adrien Broner, he was already fed to Mikey Garcia by the PBC, and then he was fed to Manny Pacquiao by the PBC. So basically, they're just feeding Adrien Broner to people, and he creates a lot of attention. He can market a fight, and he can make a fight bigger than what it is. He provides intrigue, and I'm sure people will tune in for that type of debacle with those two clowns. He also states, do you genuinely believe he's coming out of retirement? I'm not 100% convinced. Floyd has pulled this trick out before, saying he'll come back, and then, a week later saying, no, I'm not coming back. So you never know with Floyd. I'm still not convinced until I know of an opponent, a date, and a contract. Great question, Wansi. The next one comes from 6'9". What do you think about Biased Ego saying that Demetrius Andre can beat Canelo easily? Much love, IBFP. Salute, brother. And I don't think that anybody beats Canelo Alvarez easy. And I think the fact that Ego would even say anything like that proves and shows you what kind of casual he is. You have to understand that Canelo Alvarez has elite level head movement, elite level defense. So it's going to be hard for Demetrius Andre to hit him cleanly and flushly. Also, Demetrius Andre swings wide, and Demetrius Andre is a very good fighter, but Demetrius Andre can also get walked down as well, because with all his defensive prowess, his chin is still a little bit suspect. We've seen him get dropped cleanly and flush against a Vinus Martirosyan. So since we've already seen Demetrius Andre drop by Vinus Martirosyan, we understand that Canelo Alvarez has elite level power that's beyond that of a Vinus. We've just seen Canelo Alvarez move up in weight and completely demolish a Sergey Kovalev. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Canelo Alvarez could catch Demetrius Andre at some point in that fight and seriously hurt him. Great question. The next one comes from 2015. What mega fight should and most likely will happen next? Well, I think the problem with boxing right now is that we're not getting the best fights because, guys are being protected. I think if I had to line it up, I see that Crawford Spence not going to happen. Spence is ducking the fight, and even if he's fully healthy and ready to go, he's not taking that Crawford fight. You see Deontay Wilder turn down $120 million. He's not taking the Joshua fight if he gets the belts back. And so I have to look to the fights that are likely to be made. I think Gervonta Tank Davis would take a Vasyl Lomachenko if you see Vasyl Lomachenko age considerably against a Teofimo or Richard Commey winner. If he shows a huge amount of age and slowing down, then I think they'll jump at the chance to try to match him against Tank Davis. If Vasyl Lomachenko still looks good, still has a lot of jump in his step, then I don't think they'll even dare. I think Regis Prograis Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez, that would be a great mega fight, because that's the type of fight that, you'll look at it and these guys will be fighting for undisputed. So I think that's probably the most likely fight to happen. Great question. The next one comes from Armand, and he states, if Ego challenged you to a boxing match, KSI versus Logan Paul style, would you do it? Absolutely, I would do it. Would he duck or would you? I would not duck. I'm sure he would duck. He ducks a debate, so I'm sure he would duck a boxing match. Would y'all, the fans, watch it? I'm sure people would love to tune in to see him get stopped. He also said, what are the odds on that fight? I wouldn't say it's a 50-50 fight because he doesn't have the high ring IQ that I do, so I'll say 60-40. Great question, but this concludes the Q&A with the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.